right, so this is basically about a 10, I would say, exercise flow. Now, you guys know for dynamic warm-ups, they're very, very important, right? Or what I also call movement hygiene. So this is something that I kind of pieced together, what I think that covers a lot of movements and hits a lot of things. So meaning from hip mobility to our upper back thoracic rotation and extension, to working the scap, to getting some ankle mobility in there too, and like working on our patterns. So I'm gonna go through this flow and show you guys like legitimately like 1 rep of the flow. And then you do this for anywhere from 3 to 5, even 6 per side. Now, if I was going to do this as a daily kind of movement hygiene, I'd put time on the clock, 10 minutes, I got 8 minutes, I got 12 minutes, 15 minutes, and I would just go and I would just deliberately work through it, right? So I'm gonna take you guys through it and touch on like what things are doing and why we're plugging this in. So the first one would be just a high knee pull, okay? So I'm gonna do a high knee pull, but what I like to do with this is actually let go for a second and hold it, right? So now we're doing this, I would say hip flexors getting some strengthening. I'm working on stability of that foot. So I'm going for like 3 to 5 seconds. Then I'm gonna pull and drop and eccentrically kind of come down into this lunge, okay? So if you go from like a little bit of side angle, you'll see. Now, once I'm in this lunge, my coaching cues here are, I'm gonna drive this knee forward and punch that heel back, right? So I'm trying to rip apart my hips, create that separation. And from there, I wanna go into a hamstring stretch. Now, what I'm gonna do is I'm actually gonna round and like push and exhale. The ground away, I'm pushing my whole foot into the ground and like really trying to lock it out. Getting that hammy stretch. And from there, I'm going to come down. Foot's gonna come, so back knee's gonna come down, and I'm going to get a thoracic rotation. So I'm gonna put my hand on my chest. I'm gonna open my upper back up as much as I can, rotate. Imagine there's a laser on my sternum that's kind of turning and pointing that way. I'm gonna go up to the ceiling. And then I'm gonna add a lizard. Now the lizard is like where I reach. I'm trying to get my shoulder blade out. Keep reaching, keep reaching, keep reaching. Coming around, coming back down in. From there, this is what's cool, like you can actually use your hands, and I'm just going to turn to the side into a Cossack squat. Now, if, for instance, you have mobility restrictions, you can hold on to something, you can be on a chair, on a mat bar, anything, you can keep your hands down on the ground. Because we're really, even if you have some rounding in your upper back, it's okay because we're really working on that adductor length in this position, okay? From there, I'm gonna come back to that midline, okay? And now I'm gonna turn this way, and my knee's gonna turn, my foot's gonna turn, my whole body's gonna turn. Think side plank position, and I'm going to drive my hip down to the ground. And so most people are gonna feel a really big stretch here in the obliques, even the IT band, TFL, like all of this opens up, and I can exhale. Ooh, super nice stretch right here. Like I said, make sure the knee and the toe are pointing to the side and they're aligned, right? And I'm putting my shoulder down, and the more I punch that I would say hip down to the ground, the bigger the stretch is. And from there, I'm going to bring that up and just get some of that side plank activation and reach, okay? I'm turning back to the midline, and now I'm gonna work on the ankle dorsiflexion. So I'm gonna drive this forward as far as I can while keeping the heel down, right? So if you look at from this angle, okay, I'm pushing the knee forward, I'm keeping the heel down. I even like to kind of move it left to right a little bit, okay? And so now I'm feeling the backside stretching, right? I'm getting as much, so think about this is a good position to drill for the squat. From there, grabbing my knee, I'm gonna pull my back foot, and I'm gonna push forward and feel the stretch. Now you can put your hand down here, right? If you have pretty good mobility, you don't need to, but I'm opening up my quad, getting that RF, right? This femoral stretch here, holding that for a second, coming back, and watch. I'm just gonna reposition into a squat, okay? So now I'm in a squat position, I'm prying open. And from here, I'm gonna go walk myself out and go into a downward dog position while reaching for my knee, right? So I'm getting that rotation on one side, keep pushing the ground away, rotation on the other side, back to my push-up position, walk myself back to a squat, pry the hips open again, stand up, and I'm back to rep number 1, right, on the other side. So you can see, and we'd go, once again, here I'd go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, pull, and back at it. Now, I did that a little bit slower, obviously to break it down, but you can kind of see that's a long rep, right? So if you do 3 per side, like we're moving, right? And you can see that, look at the timer and see how long it took for us to do 1, obviously with explanation. But if you do 5 of these per side, look at all the areas that we touched on, right? Hip stability, hip flexor activation, right? Hip separation, so opening up the hips, thoracic rotation. We've had some, I would say, upward scapular rotation going on here. We worked on the ankle. We worked on our patterns in the Cossack squat. We opened up the adductors, right? Squat pattern, walk out, thoracic rotation with that downward dog, opening up the hamstring. So it touches on so many different things. Like just doing 1 rep on one side, I feel a little lopsided right now. But that is our 10, or it might even be an 11 exercise flow that become a staple, not only in your warm-ups, right? You can go through this for warm-ups, but also as your, I would say, daily movement hygiene to get the joints lubricated, to get you going. So try it out. Let me know how it goes. Feel better, move better, perform better.